the main use for it's called the visual editor and the HTML editor. That's the proper name for them. The main use for the HTML editor is if you're embedding code from, say for example, you go to a YouTube video and it says, do you want to embed this video on your site? If you go and copy that embed code and paste it into the visual editor, what will happen is the embed code will just display.
Yeah, it won't actually actualize.
It doesn't what's called parse the HTML. Whereas if you go into the HTML editor and paste the embed code in there and then do update, and then you go and look at the site, the video will now appear because it's correctly read the embed code.
Cool.
So, and that's the same for embedding stuff like videos off YouTube and Vimeo and places like that. But things like you can embed slideshows from some of the slide sharing websites, things like that as well. But the other thing is, some people just like to the HTML editor is a little bit quicker because it's basically it's a plain text editor window, whereas the visual window actually, as you put stuff in, it changes it on the fly. So for example, when you make something bold, it does stuff in the background to figure out what you're doing. Yeah. So it feels quicker to type in the HTML window. It just feels a little bit quicker. It's just one of those things. It's not a big deal. Most people will probably be happy working in the visual editor. The one other thing though with both of those, and it's not directly related to the question, but is if you write something up in Microsoft Word, there is a paste from Word option in if you hover your mouse over the little icons, you'll see that one of them specifically is paste from Word. And the reason that's there is because if you put paste from Word directly into the HTML editor, what Word does is it adds all sorts of gobbledygook HTML that if you paste from Word into the visual editor, it adds all this gobbledygook HTML that Microsoft created that just causes havoc with the code. So you're better off just clicking paste from Word. Or what I do is I don't write stuff in Word and paste it into my blog. I just write it in a notepad window and paste it in, because then you don't have any issues with formatting. It's just plain text.
That's an interesting point. Well, when I was building the first few sites, I was just using the text box in WordPress to write blog posts or write content.
Yeah.
You use Notepad and then paste it in. Why do you do that? Is that just in case it crashes or something? Or?
No, actually, and to be honest, it should be the other way around, because the text editor in WordPress actually does an autosave, so it's actually safer there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
No, the reason I do it is, well, I like writing stuff in Notepad because Notepad is very quick. I actually don't use Notepad. I use what's called Notepad 2. And there's a video on that, on where to go and find that. But what it is, it's an advanced text editor. It lets you do stuff like multiple search replace. Excuse me. Lets you see.
That's dead handy. We do that video on the all the domain options, and that's what.
That's right. Yeah.
Its own. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do things like view line number. It also not so much for writing pages and blog posts and stuff, but another thing it does is if you open, say for example, a PHP file, it recognizes that and it highlights the syntax. It does the same for HTML and for other programming languages. So when you're looking at it, it actually, if you click on a tag like a H1 or H2 tag, it'll highlight the end one as well, so you can see where that starts and that ends. So it just does little things like that are nice.
So it's handy if you're having to look at any code.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, all programmers will use an editor that supports syntax highlighting.
I mean, some of the SAS members will want to do that, but probably most of them will be happy with just.
Yeah, I mean, for most people, just use the visual editor. It's fine. It does exactly what's needed. Just be worried about pasting from Microsoft Word into WordPress, because that things can get messed up.
And that's the main thing on YouTube links and other HTML links.
Yeah.
It's often better just to chuck it into the HTML window.
We actually did a video specifically on embedding videos, because and that shows you how it looks both ways when you do it right, when you do it wrong.
Exactly.
So use the visual editor unless you like to write HTML.